Astro is a tool for the automated migration of Sirius Desktop graphical modeling editors to Sirius Web. To understand how Astro works, one would have to understand how Sirius Desktop graphical editors are implemented. In this case, we would like to build a graphical editor for the desktop and for the web for this specific domain-specific language. And this domain-specific language is used for modeling project plans. Here we have the concept of a project, which has a title, a list of tasks, and a list of people. Each task has a title, a start, a duration, and a list of efforts. Each effort has a percentage, and a person is assigned to it, and a person has a name. Once you define the meta model, the next thing would be to define the generator model, and this is defined here. And from the generator model, you can trigger EMF's code generator, which generates the model, the edit, and the editor code. This represents 3 Java projects, this project, this project, and this project. And this implements the DSL's EMF infrastructure for editing and creating models. Once you have that, the next step would be to define a Sirius viewpoint specification model, and from this you declaratively associate various parts of the abstract syntax with some graphical representations. For instance, you specify the graphical syntax by defining some node mappings in this case. And here, for instance, in person node, you specify that model elements of type person from the feature called people should be represented using this specific image of persons. And then once you define the graphical syntax, you would have to specify the editing behavior from the diagram. And here, for instance, you specify how nodes of type person should be created, or nodes of type task, or how edges should be created. And for instance, for creating persons, you would start by changing the context to the current container, and once that is done, a new instance of type person would be created inside the people feature. Once you've done this, you would have implemented the Sirius Desktop editor, and it looks like this. And now the goal is to migrate this to the web. Well, you have this. Now you have all the 4 input models: the meta model, the generator model, the Sirius specification, but you also need a parameters model, and here you specify the various properties required by Astro for the editor generation. You select all the input models, you right click, and here you would see Astro, and you generate the Sirius Web editor. And now code would be generated, and the code looks like this. And what it does, it does the same thing as the Sirius viewpoint specification model, but it uses code to do this. So instead of declaratively associating various parts of the meta model with some graphical representations, you will do the same thing but using code. For instance, here we specify a node description provider instead of a node mapping, and it specifies that modular elements of type task from the featured tasks should have the height and width of 30, and they should have an image. In this case, it's specified by an identifier of an SVG. And once you have this, you run it, and the editor would look like this. So it would have the same graphical syntax and editing behavior as in the Sirius Desktop editor, and Astro is available here. You can install it as an Eclipse plugin.